Welcome back. You're watching News X with me, Devika Devan. US President Donald Trump has said America gets along with India very well, but the relationship was one-sided for many years since New Delhi was charging Washington tremendous tariffs. As he made his first public appearance this week, there were no tough talks over India's purchase of Russian oil or its warming up to China, as several had expected following the SCO Summit. In fact, the last couple of days have seen top Trump aides adopt a more measured tone as far as India is concerned. A softer and tacit messaging has been given in response and in counter to the barrage of sharp criticisms that was seen just weeks ago, which saw India being dubbed as Kremlin's laundromat. Even Trump's remarks at the White House were more tempered and focused on the trade imbalance with India. He said that for many years, the relationship between India and US was one-sided, and that changed when he assumed office. Donald Trump cited the example of the Harley Davidson motorcycles, saying the company couldn't sell into India because there was a 200% tariff on the same. Even his post on Truth Social was devoid of the usual bluster and his all-capital, high-octane statements. The Trump administration seems to be softening its tone towards India, or is that so? We take that conversation forward. I have with me on the broadcast Mr. Andrea Lucidi, war reporter from Moscow, Mr. Andrew Latham, professor of international relations, joining us from the USA, and Mr. Raymond Vickery, former US Assistant Secretary of Commerce, also joining us from Washington, D.C. Mr. Vickery, I want to begin the conversation with you. I want to understand from your perspective, do you see that there's a change of tonality towards India as far as Donald Trump and his administration are concerned?
Well, I think that there is, thanks very much for having me. I think there is some change in tone. If nothing else, Donald Trump shows that he is not consistent in his approach and even in his rhetoric. That having been said, I think the basics of the Trump mistakes on tariffs are still there. He does not recognize relationships in building. What he recognizes are transactions. And in transactions, there's a winner and a loser, and he's going to be the winner, and the other side will lose. The idea of a win-win relationship is foreign to his outlook. It is completely irrational for him to have taken the approach that he has taken in regard to the so-called reciprocal tariffs, based upon his view that somehow trade deficits are like a profit and loss statement. There are many things that go into trade deficits, particularly the U.S. savings rate and other economic factors. But he doesn't recognize that. And this first 25% is some sort of back-of-the-envelope calculation that any trade deficit is illegitimate, has been imposed by India on the United States, and he can rectify it. He's made a second mistake, of course, in combining that so-called reciprocal tariffs with his approach to Russia and buying Russian oil. If you're going to have an economic strategy in regard to Russia's invasion of Ukraine, which is altogether laudable since the Russian invasion is really a breach of the UN Charter to which India was a founding member, that's fine. But to single out India while you let China off on some supposition that you're going to have a G2 arrangement, and you don't even really look at what is happening in Europe in regard to Russian trade, much less the U.S., that's completely irrational also. So we have a basic difficulty in this country. President Trump viewing things in transactional terms. It's all about him, his ego, his aggrandizement. And of course, this really difficult and horrible situation in U.S.-India trade is reflected across the board in problems that we have with the Trump administration domestically. One hopes that the change in tone, the Indian American community, the business community, our own checks and balances will ameliorate this disastrous situation. But thus far, there is no sign that President Trump has a strategy or is looking at India as the great partner which it should be.
All right, Mr. Andrew Latham, your perspective on the same. I want to understand, do you feel that there's been some sort of a